Have you ever noticed that no matter how hard you try to focus during the day, your ADHD symptoms just seem to get worse and worse with each passing week? What if I told you that something you're doing every single night might be sabotaging your brain without you even realizing it? I'm Dr. Emily Thompson, and after working with ADHD patients for over 12 years, I've identified a specific nighttime habit that's making your symptoms significantly worse each day. It's something almost 90% of my patients were doing without realizing how much damage it was causing to their executive function, focus, and emotional regulation. Stay with me because I'm going to share exactly what this habit is, and more importantly, how to break it starting tonight. The good news? This doesn't require medication changes or expensive treatments, just simple adjustments that can dramatically improve how your brain functions tomorrow. If you've ever struggled with worsening ADHD symptoms, despite medication or other interventions, drop a comment below, telling me if you think this nighttime habit might be affecting you too. I read every comment and often use them to create future videos addressing your specific challenges. This video is specifically for anyone diagnosed with ADHD or who suspects they might have it. Whether you're taking medication or managing it through lifestyle changes, if you're still struggling with focus, impulsivity, or emotional regulation that seems to get worse over time, what I'm about to share will be eye-opening. I see patients every week who tell me they're doing everything right. They're taking their medication as prescribed, exercising regularly, using planning systems, eating well, even meditating. Yet they still feel their symptoms intensifying. They describe that foggy brain feeling getting thicker, their focus becoming more fragmented, and their emotional reactions becoming harder to control. Does this sound familiar? Maybe you find yourself more distracted in meetings than you used to be, even though you're on the same medication dose. Perhaps you notice your impulsivity increasing when making decisions, or you're buying things you don't need more frequently. Or maybe you're just exhausted from the mental effort it takes to stay on track throughout the day, feeling like you're constantly swimming upstream against a current that keeps getting stronger. If you're nodding your head right now, first know that you're not alone. And second, there's a very specific reason this might be happening. I understand how frustrating it can be when you're trying so hard, yet your brain still feels like it's working against you. As someone who has specialized in ADHD for over a decade, I've seen this pattern repeatedly. People doing all the right things yet still struggling. It's not your fault, and you're not doing anything wrong. There's simply a critical factor that most doctors and therapists never discuss with their ADHD patients, and it's making everything else you're doing less effective. Before I reveal this nighttime habit that's making your ADHD worse, if you're finding this information helpful so far, please take a quick second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. This not only helps more people find this important information, but it also lets me know to create more ADHD-specific content that can help you manage your symptoms better. Your support means I can continue providing evidence-based strategies rather than the quick-fix myths that are so common online. So what exactly is this nighttime habit that's making your ADHD worse every single day? It's something that approximately 90% of my ADHD patients are doing without realizing the significant impact it has on their symptoms: late-night screen time and irregular sleep patterns. But it's not just about getting enough sleep. It's about how your nighttime routine is directly impacting your brain's dopamine system, which is already dysregulated with ADHD. You see, the ADHD brain has unique vulnerabilities when it comes to sleep and electronic use that most people simply aren't aware of. What might be a minor issue for someone without ADHD can create a cascade of neurological problems for someone with this condition. Let me break down the 5 critical ways this nighttime habit is affecting your ADHD brain and what you can do about each one. First, let's talk about blue light exposure before bed. When you scroll through social media, watch shows, play games, or even check work emails in the hours before sleep, the blue light from your devices suppresses your brain's production of melatonin, the hormone that signals your body it's time to sleep. For the ADHD brain, which already struggles with sleep regulation, this creates a perfect storm. Studies show that people with ADHD are particularly vulnerable to the effects of blue light, with research indicating up to a 73% reduction in melatonin production compared to neurotypical individuals when exposed to the same amount of screen time. This vulnerability stems from genetic differences in how the ADHD brain processes light signals. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Sleep Research found that individuals with ADHD have heightened sensitivity to light in the blue spectrum due to differences in photoreceptor function in the retina and how these signals are processed by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your brain's master clock. Essentially, your ADHD brain registers that blue light as a much stronger stay awake signal than someone without ADHD. Why is this so important? Because poor sleep quality directly impacts your prefrontal cortex, the exact part of your brain that's already underactive with ADHD and responsible for executive functions like attention, impulse control, and emotional regulation. Just one night of disrupted sleep can reduce prefrontal cortex activity by up to 40% the next day, essentially magnifying your ADHD symptoms. Think about that. A single night of poor sleep can make your prefrontal cortex function at nearly half capacity, meaning all the challenges you normally face with ADHD become nearly twice as difficult. What can you do? Implement a digital sunset at least 60-90 minutes before bedtime. This means putting away all screens, phones, tablets, computers, and even TV. If you absolutely must use a device, use blue light blocking glasses or install apps that filter blue light. Many of my patients who've implemented this one change report significant improvements in both their sleep quality and daytime symptoms within just 1 week. One patient told me, "I didn't realize how much my phone was affecting me until I stopped using it before bed. By day 3, I felt like someone had turned up the clarity dial in my brain." The second way your nighttime habits are worsening your ADHD involves dopamine depletion through what I call dopamine stealing. The ADHD brain is already characterized by irregular dopamine function. It's why stimulant medications that increase dopamine availability are often effective treatments. But here's what's happening at night. When you engage with highly stimulating content like social media, games, news, or even work projects late at night, you're artificially elevating dopamine levels precisely when your brain should be winding down. Think of dopamine like your brain's battery for motivation and focus. Most people naturally recharge this battery during sleep, but the process actually begins in the wind down period before sleep. When you engage with stimulating content right before bed, you're essentially forcing your battery to keep discharging when it should be starting to recharge. This creates what neuroscientists call a dopamine deficit state the following day. Your brain, having overdrawn its dopamine account the night before, starts the day already depleted of this crucial neurotransmitter that helps with motivation, focus, and reward processing. The result? Your medication may seem less effective, your focus worse than usual, and your emotional regulation more challenging. This is why many people with ADHD find themselves increasing their medication doses over time, not realizing that their nighttime habits are counteracting the medication's benefits. How can you address this? Create a dopamine fasting period before bed. Replace high stimulation activities with calming ones that don't trigger the same dopamine rush. Gentle stretching, reading a physical book, not too exciting, listening to calming music, or practicing mindfulness. This allows your brain's dopamine system to reset and rebalance overnight, so you're not starting the next day at a deficit. One of my patients describes this as paying forward focus. By sacrificing some late-night entertainment, you're investing in better cognitive function tomorrow. The third critical factor is sleep consistency, which is particularly crucial for the ADHD brain. Many people with ADHD fall into a pattern of revenge bedtime procrastination, staying up late to finally enjoy some personal time after a day of struggling with responsibilities. While understandable, This creates irregular sleep patterns that are especially damaging to the ADHD brain's already challenged circadian rhythm system. Your circadian rhythm regulates not just sleep, but also the timing of neurotransmitter release throughout the day. When you have inconsistent sleep and wake times, you're essentially creating a form of social jet lag that disrupts these delicate systems. Research shows that inconsistent sleep schedules can reduce attention span by up to 33% in people with ADHD compared to when they maintain regular sleep patterns. What's fascinating is that this effect is significantly stronger in people with ADHD than in the general population. A 2022 study in the Journal of Attention Disorders found that neurotypical individuals showed about a 12% reduction in attention with irregular sleep, while those with ADHD experienced nearly 3 times that impact. The researchers theorized that this is because the ADHD brain has less compensatory capacity, fewer neurological reserves to draw on when sleep is disrupted. The solution? Establish a consistent sleep schedule, even on weekends. Your brain thrives on predictability, especially the ADHD brain. Set a regular bedtime and wake time that allows for 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and try not to deviate by more than 30 minutes, even on weekends. I know this can be challenging with ADHD's time blindness, so setting bedtime alarms can be extremely helpful. Many of my patients set a series of alarms, one for beginning their wind-down routine, one for turning off all screens, and a final one for actually getting into bed. The fourth factor involves stress hormone regulation during sleep. Quality sleep is when your body processes and clears stress hormones like cortisol. For the ADHD brain, which often experiences higher baseline stress levels due to the challenges of navigating a neurotypical world, this nighttime clearing process is essential. When your sleep is disrupted by late-night screens or irregular patterns, your body doesn't effectively process these stress hormones. The result is that you wake up with elevated cortisol levels, which further interferes with dopamine function and exacerbates ADHD symptoms like emotional reactivity, anxiety, and difficulty focusing. This creates a particularly vicious cycle for people with ADHD. Higher cortisol makes your symptoms worse, which creates more stress throughout the day, which then makes it harder to sleep well the following night. Breaking this cycle by optimizing your sleep can create a positive upward spiral where each good night's sleep makes the next day easier, and each easier day makes the next night's sleep better. To address this, incorporate a wind-down routine that actively reduces stress before bed. This might include gentle yoga, deep breathing exercises, or a warm shower. Many of my patients find that 10 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing reduces bedtime stress and improves sleep quality dramatically. The key is consistency. Doing the same calming activities in the same order signals to your brain that it's time to lower stress hormones and prepare for sleep. The fifth and final way your nighttime habits might be worsening your ADHD involves what happens during deep sleep itself. During the deep sleep stages, your brain performs critical maintenance functions, clearing metabolic waste through the glymphatic system, consolidating memories, and replenishing neurotransmitters needed for attention and focus. Research suggests that people with ADHD already get about 25% less deep sleep than neurotypical individuals, making what sleep you do get even more crucial. This reduction in deep sleep isn't just about feeling tired. It has specific implications for ADHD symptoms. During deep sleep, your brain consolidates procedural memory, which helps with automatic behaviors and routines, precisely the kinds of structured behaviors that help manage ADHD. Deep sleep is also when your brain processes emotional experiences from the day, which is why disrupted sleep often leads to increased emotional dysregulation, a common challenge with ADHD. When you shortchange yourself on sleep or disrupt your sleep cycles with irregular patterns or late-night screens, you're reducing both the quantity and quality of this restorative deep sleep. This means your brain starts each day without having completed its essential overnight maintenance tasks, leaving you with impaired working memory, reduced cognitive flexibility, and worsened executive function. All core challenges in ADHD. How can you optimize deep sleep? Beyond the screen time and consistency recommendations, create an optimal sleep environment. Cool temperature, around 68 to 18 degrees, completely dark room, and minimal noise. Consider using white noise if you're sensitive to sounds. Some of my patients also benefit from weighted blankets, which have been shown to increase serotonin production and promote deeper sleep in people with ADHD. Weighted blankets provide proprioceptive input, which can be calming for the ADHD nervous system and help transition into deeper sleep stages more efficiently. It's also worth examining your evening diet. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours, meaning if you have coffee at 4 p.m., half that caffeine is still in your system at 10 p.m. People with ADHD often metabolize caffeine differently, sometimes more slowly than the general population. So that afternoon, coffee might be disrupting your sleep more than you realize. Similarly, high sugar or high carb late dinners can cause blood sugar fluctuations that disrupt deep sleep. Try to finish eating at least 2-3 hours before bed, and consider a small protein-rich snack if you're hungry before sleep, as protein helps stabilize blood sugar overnight. I want to emphasize something important here. Improving your sleep habits isn't just about reducing ADHD symptoms. It's about optimizing your brain's overall health and function. Better sleep means better mood regulation, improved learning ability, stronger immune function, and even healthier metabolism. By addressing these nighttime habits, you're not just managing ADHD better. You're giving your brain the best possible conditions to thrive in every way. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. But Dr. Thompson, using my phone before bed is the only way I can fall asleep. This is actually a common misconception among my ADHD patients. What's really happening is that your brain has become conditioned to associate screens with sleep. The stimulation from screens isn't helping you fall asleep. It's masking your body's natural sleep signals by overstimulating your brain. When you break this association and establish healthier pre-sleep routines, you'll likely find that you fall asleep more quickly and stay asleep more consistently. Others might be thinking, I've tried better sleep habits before, and they didn't help. If that's you, I'd encourage you to consider whether you are implementing all 5 of these factors consistently. Many people try one aspect, like reducing screen time, but don't address the consistency of their sleep schedule or their sleep environment. The magic happens when you address all these factors together, creating a comprehensive approach to sleep that specifically targets the unique needs of the ADHD brain. I recently worked with a patient named Alex, not their real name, who came to me frustrated that despite taking medication regularly and maintaining a healthy diet, their ADHD symptoms were steadily worsening. They described feeling like they were sliding backward despite doing everything right. After discussing their habits, we discovered they typically spent about 2 hours before bed, watching intense TV shows and checking work emails. Their sleep schedule varied by up to 3 hours between weekdays and weekends, and they often used their phone in bed just to relax before sleeping. We implemented the nighttime protocol I just shared with you. Within just 3 weeks, Alex reported a 60% improvement in daytime focus, better emotional regulation, and feeling that their medication was working effectively again. Their boss even commented on their improved performance at work, noting that they seemed more present in meetings and more organized with projects. Alex told me, "It's like I got my brain back. I didn't realize how much worse my symptoms had gotten until they improved. I thought I needed a higher medication dose, but it turns out I just needed better sleep." Another patient, Jamie, had been struggling with increasingly severe emotional dysregulation. Small frustrations would trigger disproportionate emotional responses, creating problems in both personal and professional relationships. After implementing consistent sleep timing and a screen-free hour before bed, Jamie noticed a dramatic improvement in emotional stability. "The difference is incredible," they reported. "Things that would have sent me into a tailspin before now feel manageable. I can actually pause and choose my response instead of just reacting. This isn't just Alex and Jamie's experience. Thousands of people with ADHD have discovered that addressing these nighttime habits creates a foundation that makes all their other ADHD management strategies more effective. I regularly receive comments from viewers saying things like, "I never connected my late-night phone use with my worsening symptoms, but after following your advice for 2 weeks, the difference is night and day. I can finally think clearly again." The research backs this up too. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Attention Disorders found that ADHD patients who implemented structured sleep hygiene protocols showed improvements in attention, impulse control, and working memory that were comparable to the effects of a low-dose stimulant medication. Imagine getting medication-like benefits simply by changing how you approach sleep. I know changing nighttime routines can feel overwhelming, especially with ADHD. That's why I suggest starting with just one small change tonight. Set an alarm for 60 minutes before your intended bedtime as a reminder to put away all screens. Just this one adjustment can begin to reset your sleep-wake cycle and improve your symptoms. Then, gradually build from there. Next week, try to maintain a more consistent sleep schedule. The week after, focus on creating an optimal sleep environment. Breaking it down into manageable steps makes it much more likely that you'll successfully implement these changes and stick with them long enough to see results. Don't worry about implementing everything perfectly right away. ADHD management isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Even implementing these changes 80% of the time will lead to significant improvements. Remember, your brain wants to function optimally, and giving it the right conditions through better sleep habits allows it to do so. What's powerful about addressing sleep is that it creates a positive ripple effect throughout your ADHD management. Better sleep means your medication works more effectively. Your coping strategies are easier to implement, your emotional regulation improves, and your overall quality of life gets better. It's like upgrading the foundation of a house. Everything built on top of it becomes more stable. If you found this information helpful so far, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps this evidence-based ADHD content reach more people who might be struggling with the same challenges you are. Plus, it lets me know to create more videos specifically addressing ADHD management strategies that can make a real difference in your daily life. I truly hope these insights about how your nighttime habits affect your ADHD have been valuable to you. If they have, please consider sharing this video with someone else who might benefit from this information. We all know someone struggling with attention or focus issues who might not realize how their evening routines could be making things worse. Your share could be the turning point that helps them finally understand why they're struggling despite their best efforts. Lastly, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you noticed a connection between your sleep habits and your ADHD symptoms? Or if you've already implemented some of these changes, what differences have you noticed? Your experiences could help someone else in our community who's facing similar challenges, and I personally read every comment to understand what you're going through and what topics I should cover next. Thank you for watching, and remember, small changes to your nighttime routine can lead to big improvements in how you experience ADHD during the day. Your brain deserves the best possible conditions to thrive, and better sleep is one of the most powerful ways to provide that. I'll see you in the next video where we'll talk about another evidence-based strategy for managing ADHD effectively.